Okay, I think our next step is to introduce the concept of how controllers work in um, uh, NodeJS and setting our system up to use controllers. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and create a new folder called controllers, and this will house our controllers. Within there, I'm going to create a new file. I guess we'll just have it's a new file, so we'll call it, I guess, main.js. It's our main controller file. Again, might want to call it something better once you have an actual app, but since this is a template, main seems like a fine name for that. So in this main.js, we are going to say we're going to specify exports.getHello. What I'm doing here is defining a new function that I'm going to export. Function's called getHello, and it takes three parameters. Again, the request, the response, and the next function. And here is the body of my function. Basically, all I want the getHello controller to do is to render the hello view. Okay, so this is a really simple controller. You know, once we're having controllers do more complicated things, not just showing static pages, then obviously up here we would do all kinds of calculations and other stuff, and then we would pass the results of all those calculations, like reading from the database and maybe doing some other stuff. We would pass those values as parameters to this view that we're going to render, and then the view would display it. For now, we aren't doing anything that exciting, so literally we just render it and we feel good about ourselves. So for this to work, we also need to modify routes, because basically right now the route, if you look in the routes file, routes main.js, you can see it's doing the rendering right now. So basically what we want to do is, instead of having the routes do the rendering, we're going to have the routes call the controller, and the controller will do the rendering for us. And again, for a tiny example like this, like, well, controllers seem like a bunch of extra, but again, we're trying to stick with this model view controller framework because that's a tried and true method for large applications. So, a few things. First of all, in the routes file, we need to pull in our controller. I'm just going to call it main controller, and we're going to say require, and then we have to tell it where to find the controller. And the answer is from my current directory, which is the routes directory. I need to back up one. I need to go into controllers, and then I need to load my main controller. So that code that's in the main controller gets stored here in main controller. Now, for the get route, for the get of the index, I'm going to not directly render the route here. Instead, I'm just going to specify the controller. So I say main controller, and the function that I want to call is getHello. And that should send me to my getHello controller that I just wrote, that function. Okay, I just saved. It looks like it's not crashing, so let's come refresh. All right, that looks like it's probably working. Now, I want to show you a few things, like in particular, how to pass data from a controller to a view. That's going to become a pretty common thing to want to do. So real quick, we're going to add a new parameter here, and the parameter we're adding is basically an object that is going to have the names and values that we want to pass to our view. So basically what I'm going to put in here, this is what I'm passing to my view. We're going to have an attribute called title, which I will set to first page. I'm also going to have an attribute called message, and I'll say the message is greetings, Earthlings. That'll be the message that we send. Okay, so now I need to come edit my view hello, because this is saying render hello and pass this data to it, but I'm not using that data. We'll do one piece at a time. Here, for the title, I'm taking the title from there. This will be useful when you have a template and you want to have this, all this stuff here at the top be the same for every page that you generate. We need to be able to plug in a different title for each page, so that would be an example of doing that. So the title, the way you pull in variables in here is you use an angle bracket % and % angle bracket. Anything that you put between these the special notation, basically what goes inside of there is server-side JavaScript. Basically what we want to do is we want to print or paste in the value of title. If you're going to do pasting of values, like as far as I know, there's not really a print command that you can put there like you have in PHP. So what you can do is you can just say equal sign. So if you do angle bracket % equals, it basically says paste the value that's here. The value we want to paste is called title. So if I come and refresh my page, right now notice the title of the document is set to the word document. Now hopefully it'll be set to first page after I refresh. Okay, there it goes. My title changed to first page, so that worked. The other thing that I was going to do is actually put a message on here. So we'll put that in a paragraph. We need to open. We're going to just print the value, and we'll put message here. And I will save it, and we will refresh it. Aha, my greetings Earthlings message that I passed from the controller is now being put on my page using this notation. We can actually do other things besides just pasting in exact values. That is, you might want to build a loop, or you might want to do something else. Remember, all this stuff is JavaScript code, but let me just kind of show you how it worked. Let's suppose we wanted to modify this template so that if a message is passed, that is, we actually have, it's not an empty string. So if we actually have a message, we're going to show the message. If they don't have a message, we're going to say hello world. Okay. So basically what I could do is here in this section, I say, all right, I need to put some dynamic code. So I could say, all right, if message is blank. In that case, I'm going to open my squiggles. I'm going to output the message, which means I need to end my JavaScript section, my server-side JavaScript section. Then I'm going to say hello world. All right, now I need to close my squiggle. Then I'm going to have an else. Then I'm going to open a squiggle. All right, and then I'm going to indent this so it's a little clearer. I'm going to display the message that was sent. So if there's no message sent, I say hello world. If there is a message sent, I'm going to print the message here. And then of course I need to close my squiggle. So we will put that in the little % brackets as well. So if all that worked right, then if I come refresh, I'll get the same message. Oh, okay. Looks like I typed something wrong. Unexpected identifier. Are they going to give me a line number? Not sure. Let's look at the code we just typed and see something that might. Oh, well, for starters, in JavaScript and if statement, the Boolean expression needs to be in parentheses, so that's one problem. Looks like it didn't restart. Let's just see if I cancel and restart, if that will compile. Yeah, okay, so it's loading. Let's just see if that fixes it. Oh, good. Okay. We're still getting greeting Earthlings because that's the message that we sent. If I come here to my controller and I say, okay, I'm going to send a blank message, which means no message sent. In that case, we should see hello world. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to refresh. Okay, now I'm getting my hello world message. All right, that's working. I do want to clarify one thing. What I was trying to do here was, normally the logic that we just did, okay, if the message that we're being sent is blank, then we're going to set the message to this, otherwise we're going to use the original message. All that normally would go up here in the controller. There's normally the logic and all that, and so you would, condense this down to, okay, this is the message. Once you've got that, then you literally just say, oh, here's the message with the logic being out there. I wanted to show a couple things by illustrating it in the way I did. One is that this bracket %, what goes inside of here can be any server-side JavaScript. It's not limited to just a name of a variable. Okay. Now, if you are going to put the name of a variable in here and you want that variable to be output on the page, then you open it not with the angle bracket %, you open it with angle bracket %equals. And that says display the expression that's getting ready to be listed here. So that's something that's kind of useful.